So the other day I found out about an ETF called VIGI, or if you're just on the Vanguard website, it's VIG, which is a high dividend yield ETF. And I was like, if I just found out about VIGI with all the research that I've done with stocks and index funds and ETFs, I was wondering what else is out there that I haven't heard about. So after doing some research, I ended up finding a pretty cool tool on the Vanguard website, and for today's show, I'm going to show it to you. So welcome back to Creating Cash Flow. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you can follow along for future shows. So with that being said, let's jump into the Vanguard website. So this is investor.vanguard.com, and there are some really cool things you can do here. First of all, you can filter between mutual funds and ETFs, or just ETFs or mutual funds. And I'm going to keep it on mutual funds and ETFs. The other thing you can do is go to Overview, and basically it'll just give you a quick overview of the ticker symbol, basically what it is, an index fund here, the risk, so it's on a 1 to 5 scale, so 5 is the higher risk, and it has your expense ratio, and it basically tells you the asset class, which is pretty cool. You can then go look at performance and see how these stocks or index funds have performed over year to date, over 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years, or since inception. So it's pretty cool. And then you can come in as well and you can filter by the name alphabetically. So the final filter is the price. So this is the price that it costs to get into the index fund. So you'll notice the minimum investment here is $3,000 to join VFIAX. So the first time you put money into VFIAX, you have to drop in at least $3,000, and then every share thereafter is $338. So as you can see, some of these are a little bit crazy. This is a $50,000 buy-in at VASFX, and then a VBAIX, which I have never heard of almost any of these, is a $5 million buy-in. So you can basically come in here and decide which one of these works for me. So as I'm looking at these, I can say, hey, I want to know which one is the highest performing since inception. So you can come over here and you can see that since inception, this VCMDX has had a 15.38% return, which is pretty cool. You can also see that the inception was in 2019, June 25th of 2019. So it's a fairly new fund and it seems to be performing very well. You can then go jump into the price and see, well, maybe this one's not for me because it's a $50,000 buy-in. So that's a pretty high price to get in, but it seems to be performing pretty well for those that can jump in there. But if you come back here, then you see, well, VOOG, the S&P 500 growth ETF, has had a 14% growth since inception, and it's a little more secure since it's been going since 2010. So that's pretty great. So we come and look at this, and we see VOOG. The price is $210.39 for one share, and you don't need to come in with anything more than the price of one share. So you can jump in VOOG for $210, which is pretty awesome. So as you can see, there are a ton of index funds, ETFs, and just a huge list here of all of the Vanguard funds. And this is just one page. This is one of 50. And there are 346 total. So you can take some serious time and dive through all of these pages to find which ETFs, which mutual funds, index funds works best for you. So there's also this compare feature right here where you can compare up to 5 of these funds to look at kind of all together. So I'm going to show you a few of my favorites in the comparison mode. Okay, so that took a minute, but I was able to find my 5 favorite Vanguard index funds, and I can now come and compare them. So this is a quick overview of comparing mutual funds and ETFs. So basically, you'll see over here on the left, it shows you the symbol, and then you're able to follow what the ticker symbol is, the asset class. So all of mine are stocks. and they're a mix between large blend, real estate, and large growth. So I think that's pretty good. I'm in my early 30s and I want to be able to take risks. I want to be able to grow as much as possible over a longer period of time. So I'm on the higher risk potential. You'll also notice that the expense ratio is pretty low on all of these. You want to make sure that a lot of your money is not going towards expenses. These are very low cost index funds, which is awesome. So the one that got me kind of turning my head is this one at 0.12%, which is significantly higher than all of the other ones, but it is a real estate fund. So either I would have to look for a different type of real estate fund, or I have to go figure out if all of the real estate funds take a higher expense ratio. Then you can see here that you have the last price, change in price, the bid, ask, and the NAV. So I'm not actually sure why those aren't filling in over here, but this is a pretty cool view where you can kind of see the fund overall. So you can come over here and you can see the performance over the last year, 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years for each of these. So this is the VIG, this is the real estate, the Vanguard S&P 500 that follows the S&P 500. So it's the 5 that are right here, and you can see how those have been performing over time. So as you keep going again for the 1, 3, 5, and 10 year, you will see the average annual total return after taxes on distribution. You will see the average annual total return after taxes on distributions and sale of fund shares. And then you're going to be able to see the fees and minimums, which being able to see this no load fee is awesome. That is what I'm looking for. The purchase fee, none. Amazing. Redemption fee, none. That's great. Minimum buy-ins are not too high. So these are the only two that have a minimum buy-in of $3,000, which is not outrageous. I think that's totally fine. It seems to follow suit or actually be even better than most index funds. So that looks good to me. You can also see the 10 largest holdings in each of these, which I think is really, really interesting. So for this one on the S&P 500, Apple is the largest holding, Microsoft, Alphabet, so Google, Amazon, Tesla, Berkshire Hathaway. So you know you're able to buy into a lot of these great companies that are high performing companies. The one thing that would be interesting to look at is it necessary for me to invest across all 3 of these when it looks like a lot of them have the same one? So Apple is on all of these lists, Microsoft, Alphabet, Google, Amazon, they have the top 5 are all the exact same. Then from here I see you have Meta here, you have Meta here, and you have Meta here. So Berkshire Hathaway, but it didn't make this list. So basically, of the top 10, which accounts for 28 to 50% of the entire portfolio, or I guess 24 to 50% of the entire portfolio, most of them are the exact same stocks. So if I split my money across these 3 index funds, these 2 index funds and this one ETF, am I actually diversifying very much? And potentially not, but this only makes up a share of the total assets. So that's interesting to look at, and it's very cool to be able to see what are the core ones. I also, just on the fly, I see that Vanguard Real Estate has public storage, which I've purchased public storage in the past, and it was a great investment. I thought it performed very, very well. So I like to see that there in the top 10. Just something familiar, that it's nice to see something familiar that you've performed well with in the past, and to see it on the sheet. So we have the equity characteristics. So number of stocks, this is going to be where you can get the total breakdown, all of the details of each of these. The equity sector diversification, and we're almost done. The fund characteristics here, historical volatility measures. And so there's a ton of detail here, and I love that you can come in and Vanguard, all these numbers, obviously they're transparent, they have to be transparent, but the cool thing about it is it's very easy to compare different funds that you could be interested in. So I'm able to see, like, this was a very eye-opening, the 10 largest holdings, this was very eye-opening to me to be thinking about, well, most of these, the top basically 8 are the same across all 3, so how will that weigh into my investing strategy? And frankly, I don't know yet. I actually just learned that while I was on the fly here with you guys. So that's a pretty cool compare feature offered by Vanguard, and it's a great way to dive in and try and find out about new cool stocks, ETFs, index funds that are available from Vanguard. And I would love to know in the comments down below, what are your favorite Vanguard index funds and ETFs or real estate funds? I'd love to follow along and check them out and know why you love them. So with that being said, that is the show for today. If you thought this video was helpful, if you liked it, go ahead and leave a like. That will help with the YouTube algorithm where more people can see this content and learn about these awesome features with Vanguard. And also, the mind is a powerful thing, so what you focus on grows. So be sure to focus on those things that will step you towards your goal, get you to where you want to be. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Take it easy.